Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. Probably going to take a day or two off after this, kind of get myself together. But let's talk about the interesting problem of modern entertainment. Now, as you can see, I know a little something about entertainment. I know about pleasing your audience. I also know about keeping your core audience. And this is why I think most modern directors are missing the point of what they're supposed to be doing. If you understand your core audience, you do kind of have to cater to them. You can add in some stuff to attract somebody else. These two books, totally mainstream, totally everything's normal, everything's out. Nothing anyone's going to be upset about. Whereas, excuse the mess here, in this computer, there's lots of stuff that's a little bit far out there. It's an experiment for me to push my creative boundaries by not trying to say, oh, I want to specifically appeal to Jewish, childless, lesbians, in the 35 to 60-year-old category. No, you're never going to get a hold of that audience. I bought this. I don't know if I can get this in here. I got that as a little bit of an investment because these sets usually go up in price. But because their audience, their target audience, let's face it, are nerds. And the show has always been relatively inclusive. Star Trek, same thing. It's been relatively inclusive. Star Wars, it was following a classic formula. And George Lucas even sat down with Joseph Campbell to make sure his story was setting the right beats. It was the formulaic story, but it was using the best formula possible. When George Lucas made his movie in his mind, and even said this all the way while he owned Lucasfilm, it was for kids. The phenomena grew. Star Trek has this weird dichotomy. On TV, we expect a thoughtful episode. We expect the hard questions to be answered, and that's something Star Trek has done well. On the main screen, you kind of want to see spaceships go around and go boom. Wrath of Khan is always considered the best. And the reason for that is because it mixed both personal trauma, asking personal questions about death, and it stuck to its audience. Now, Star Trek 4, I think it's 4, the one with the whales. That's even how the fans remember it. It managed to come up with a mainstream appeal. That did boost the number of fans, but not substantially. See, people know what they want. This is a book for young adults. I'm aware of that, so I write for young adults. The book up here, Frogs, is written for an older audience. There's some scenes in there I would not be comfortable discussing with a 14-year-old. But while this is a classical adventure, this one makes you ask questions. You notice I'm not living in the lap of luxury. You don't hear me giving speeches on TV. No one's coming out to me and asking for an autographed copy. No. but I understand my audience, and I can swerve a little bit outside. One of the books I have right now has a same-sex couple in it. When I wrote the characters, that wasn't supposed to happen. They were supposed to go from antagonists to fast friends. And the more I wrote, I realized this relationship is a lot deeper than that. That being said, I don't have to show sex scenes. I don't have to do anything more than a kiss and a little bit of, engagement between them that's a little beyond what I normally do. There's still a message. People from different classes of society can get together. And it's a timeless message. If I turn around and have them abducted by aliens, the audience is going to say, what? If I go down the beat of the romance novelists, that's not my beat. I'm more of a tell somebody a good story, and anything like that can help. But if it doesn't, it's not worth it. I have a lot of friends that are writers, but what they wrote recently is pretty disturbing. Now, as an author, okay, she's slightly less experienced than I am, but involved one person who's raised by what they think is their uncle. It turns out that's not their uncle, and they're really in love with each other. And it was difficult for me to finish that because, well, you can see where the conflict comes from. She's talking about grooming somebody to ascend to, ghosts and goblins and werewolves and stuff like that. No. You need to know your core audience. You need to play to that. If you can stick in something inclusive and it works in the plot, go for it. I've written about prostitutes. I've written about ancient kings. I have a book coming up that I do think is going to be very different, but it's set so that it can be different. It's basically showing that, the world isn't like an episode of Seinfeld where it's everybody complaining about everybody else's relationships. It's more, again, people of different classes coming together, but this one, they're going to be friendly, but not really, really close. If I suddenly put in there, I don't think it would make a difference if I changed their race. I know that's what some people do. Oh, let's make Doctor Who black. Let me see, I actually think Nkuti Gatwa, I hope I got his name right, is doing a good job. The plots have not been keeping up with him. They're really letting him down, and I feel bad. Because I think he would be a quiet doctor that's always scheming, always has more on his mind. But they're trying to parade him out as this utter weakling. And like the last episode, depending on where you are, I can't fight this thing. But in the 50th anniversary, they ask, what is the pledge you took when you called yourself the Doctor? Never give up, never surrender. It's literally canon. It's been around for over 10 years, and they just threw that away with the saying, oh, I can't fight that thing. You're the Doctor. You run. You run until you figure something clever out. And I think that's the problem. The writers have the right to introduce new ideas and new concepts. But a character is still a character. Superman is always going to be the big blue Boy Scout. Batman is always going to be brooding. They've switched their places. They've changed them into children. They've done all sorts of things. I think they've even gender swapped them. Well, yeah, they did. Batgirl and Batwoman. Batwoman and Supergirl, Power Girl, whatever she's calling herself this week. But somebody like the Black Widow, Wonder Woman, very strong characters, even before they got into the movies. And that's what people are attracted to. So trying to make somebody all things for all people is never going to work. And writers need to remember that. You can add things, subtract things, but at the same token, eventually you got to keep the person to their roots. And this is the problem with literature at present and with shows at present, whether on the big screen or the small screen. I was thinking the other day, and I was trying to figure out why Hollywood is willing to adapt Japanese cinema and legends and Chinese cinema and legends, but they don't touch Indian legends. India has a wonderful movie industry. They do tons of musicals. The direction, the blocking, all that sort of thing is absolutely fantastic. So why is nobody taking Indian ideas? Clint Eastwood, a lot of the movies he's starred in are directly influenced by Japanese production. Chinese, Quentin Tarantino definitely delves into it, as well as other people. I'm not really a regular movie watcher. But how come they're perfectly fine and nobody pays attention to French cinema? Nobody pays attention to the aforementioned Indian cinema? And this would be truly magnificent if you could bring them over and tell them, okay, no song and dance number, but, let's have at it. But nobody's doing that, despite the fact that India has 1 billion people that you could potentially appeal to. And for pity's sake, give Indian people roles that isn't Deepinder from Deadpool. I actually like the character of Deepinder in Deadpool. But Indian people do a heck of a lot more than just run convenience stores and drive taxis. And that's what's driving me nuts at present. We're literally ghettoizing a part of film that's a rich and beautiful source of stories. Mostly love stories, but they have other things as well. So, if you noticed, I was able to come in here and make a point that simply says we're not doing a good job at the way we present our own creations. And it's pathetic, to be honest with you. This is not a problem. Pick a minority, majority, whatever it is, any group, Black people. You can find writers and directors that are perfectly capable of doing a job. Lesbian people, Japanese people, Chinese, all of them. I'm just going to pick on George Takei at the moment. And he's made a lifetime achievement for himself. He's active on Twitter, and other than that, he pretty much keeps to himself. But he made his fame back in the 50s and 60s. It's 2024. When are we going to get this next generation that are creating new and original stuff besides me? I know they're out there. I don't have to look hard. Actually, just look at my contact list and I can probably drag one out. That's why I participate in anthologies. And it's going to be very hard to read get a picture. Because you know what? I like helping others. Tales from the Monoverse. It's irrelevant. But by putting your name in like that, you get yourself some exposure and you help other people get exposure. And you read the other stories, and by God, almost everybody in that book wrote a murder mystery. I wrote about the survivors of basically a nuclear holocaust, but not in the way that you think. Most of the world was spared. But it's the monoverse because people only can see in black and white. Why can't people be creative like that? I was given the assignment, I wrote. It's an anthology, And they were so stunned. They were expecting murder mysteries and, film noir and stuff like that. And I came up with an entirely different and I think spookier angle to approach it at. I'm not a genius when it comes to writing. I get stuff out there, but why can't we do that? This Star Wars where they're trying to replace the Force with the string or whatever the heck it is. It's annoyed me because you're just substituting one explanation for something that's already been explained. Let's get back to making quality entertainment. You can write in diverse cast members. You can write in good quality entertainment. They're not counterproductive to one another. I know nobody from Hollywood is listening right now, but please think about, write a good story and let the best actors go. And I know there's a hell of a lot of talent out there. And it's not because we're all hateful, basement-dwelling, haters. It's your writing is just not inspiring. Do you still have Joseph Campbell? Oh, yeah, I can see just Joseph Campbell. But I'm going to end this here. Take a couple days off. I might be back on Monday or Tuesday because now I know how to get audio that people can hear. But that's really taken the wind out of me. And also, I gave myself a little case of sunstroke yesterday, so I need rest. I need water. And I'll come back with more ideas very soon, within a week maximum. But anyways, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you did, please like, share, 'cause sharing is caring. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Don't forget to click the bell icon. No matter how many times I say it, I'll never get it right. Don't forget to click the bell icon, so that way it'll notify you every day when we upload a new episode, usually around noon, which will be true again probably by Wednesday, to be honest with you. And we hope you have a fantastic day.